mystery and horror, the air itself is filled with monsters.
Children of the night, what music they make. It's alive! It's alive!
Well, hello, all you monster fiends, and thank you for joining us for another deep dive, factoid-filled episode exploring Hollywood's most famous monsters. I am your mistress of ceremonies, Sam, and I am joined, as always, by Dan from Bleeding Marvelous. Say hello, Dan.
I'm Stevie Wayne, and if you don't have anything to do right now, I'll be here playing music all through the witching hour. Even if you do have something to do, keep me turned on for a while, and I'll try my best to do the same for you. Hiya!
Oh, hiya! I knew you were going to do something from the film. I didn't expect you to do Stevie's freaking opening. Wow. Hi, everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Monsters Up North podcast. If you are not a fan, you may not realize what this week's episode is, but we're doing the fog, not the mist.
No, it's foggy, not misty. Okay, we need to keep that clear.
Keep it
Fog.
very clear. Two very different things, which I learned the hard way. Because I was like, oh my God, when Dan was like, let's do the fog. And I was like, fuck yeah, let's do the fog. Isn't that the one with a really bad ending? And she was like, no, that's the mist.
Depends which one you watch.
Very true. But we are back to double features.
Bum, bum, bum.
Yay. I actually thought of one the other day. Now I forgot it. Damn it.
Comes at really weird times, doesn't it? Like you'll be like, brain will just go, and this one, and you go, oh yeah, cool. Oh fuck, I've forgotten it now.
Forgot it all. But yeah, we're doing the fog, so I'm gonna get the disclaimer out the way with, and then we're gonna crack on open the fog. So everything discussed in today's episode is our opinions and our opinions alone. If you'd like to discuss anything from today's episode, please come and join us on our socials, or you can join us in the comments section where we can have an open discussion. But what we won't have is anyone coming for us and telling us our opinions are wrong, because we can all agree to disagree in fandom. So let's keep it fun, keep it kind, and keep the toxic behaviour out of our nerdism.
Do not be a dick.
Ah,
Thank you.
It's just perfect. Just rolls off the tongue. Just don't be a dick. Do not do it.
No.
The Fog. The 1980 and 2005 supernatural horror, created by John Carpenter and Deborah Hill, the original directed by John Carpenter and then later by Rupert Wainwright, with a cast of Jamie Lee Curtis, Adria Bordeaux, Tom Akins, the legendary Hal Holbrook, and the amazing Janet Leigh, taking on the original movie, and Tom Welling, Selma Blair, and Maggie Grace taking up the mantle in the remake. 100 years ago, it moved across a small town, creating a terror no human being should ever live to see again. Now it has returned. As Monsters Up North brings you the fog. Da, da, da.
Well,
can we all appreciate? I have been at work for 10 hours today, and I managed to read that perfectly.
Yay!
Yay, she can do an opening. Speaking of openings, I actually have the opening line for the fog. So this is set, I don't know, do they do this in the remake? They don't, do they? No, this is the original. This is the OG.
Yeah, the remake, you get a flashback scene. This, you don't.
This, you get... Hold on.
John. I don't think John Hammond, that's Jurassic Park.
Just imagine. Welcome to the fog.
There was fog, and then there was dinosaurs. We spent so long thinking if we should.
What came first? I don't know his name. I really don't know his name.
It's John something. I've gone blank on it. I have got it written here somewhere.
But he does this amazing opening, and it kind of sets up the whole story. So, if you would be so kind, I am going to try and attempt to read it. My GCSE drama coming in now. 11:55, almost midnight. Enough time for one more story. One more story before 12, just to warm us up. In 5 minutes, it will be the 21st of April. 100 years ago, on the 21st of April, out in the waters around Spivey Point, a small clipper ship drew toward land. Suddenly, out of the night, the fog rolled in. For a moment, they could see nothing, not a foot in front of them. Then they saw a light. By God, it was a fire burning on the shore, strong enough to penetrate the swirling mist. They steered a course toward the light, but it was a campfire, like this one. The ship crashed against the rocks, the hull sheared in two, masts snapped like twig. The wreckage sank, and all the men aboard. At the bottom of the sea lay the Elizabeth Dane, with her crew, their lungs filled with salt water, their eyes open, staring into the darkness. And above, as suddenly as it come, the fog lifted, receded back across the ocean, and never came again. But it was told by the fishermen and their fathers and grandfathers that when the fog returns to Antonio Bay, the men at the bottom of the sea, out in the water of Spivey Point, will rise up and search for the campfire that led them to their dark, icy death. Thank you. I will be here just for this episode. That's the opening of I'm so thirsty after that.
This is the thing, that opening was from the reshoots as well, because when Deborah and John originally wrote it, filmed it, watched it, went, no, what is this we've done? It doesn't work. We need to somehow help ourselves out here massively. At the time they reached their max budget, which was $900,000, and they went back to the cinema and the movie company, and was like, right, this isn't working, we've got to do something, we need to do some reshoots, can we have some more money? And they went, you're only getting 200 grand. And they were like, all right, okay. In those times 200 grand was a lot of money, but it wasn't what they were looking for, but they made it work. So then they hired him to do the exposition dump at the beginning about the history, and have them around a campfire, because it didn't really, that wasn't a big kind of cost, because there was no set really other than a bit of sand, some kids, him, and a campfire. And like a lot of the scenes where you see very little set work and it's very person centric were all put in later on,
right?
Because they were trying to cut costs, like use as much of the money that they could for as they could.
And editing couldn't tell what was a budgetary cut and what wasn't. But I couldn't anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to think of it. John and Deborah, when they did Halloween, it was a very, very small budget movie at the time, obviously, as we well know. Halloween, no one knew Halloween would have been the success it is today. So knowing in 78, when Halloween was done, what a success it was, he managed to do, I think it was Dark Star, Assault on Precinct 13, and then he went into doing The Fog. And the picture house was like, yeah, brilliant, we'll give you 900,000. And then I think it turned out, by today's money, it was insane amount. Like the budget was 1 million, but it took, in 1980 at the cinema, 21.8 million at the time. But when you convert that into today's money, it took $83 million at the box office worldwide.
That's insane.
The original Fog took 83 million by today's money, which, not surprisingly for some, but surpassed the Fog of 2005, which had a budget of 18 million, but the box office took, in 2005, 46 million. However, when you convert that into today's money from 2005, it only took 76 million. So still, on conversion, the first movie, the 1980 movie, took 83 million by today's money. The second movie took 76. So
Did they spend the budget on Tom Welling's
turtle
turtlenecks?
Maggie Grace's terrible
Did
marching
they
band jacket. Yeah.
did they give her acting lessons? Was that part of the budget?
I will go on to talk about the curse of Maggie Grace. Don't you worry.
We will do the first one first, as in always when we've done double features, we will do original OG first and then move on to the second one. The initial inspiration for the fog did come to John when he was collaborating with then girlfriend Deborah Hill. So this goes back to a conversation me and Dan had on Friday. So yes, when the fog started its origin, it was with Deborah Hill. When they were filming, he was married to Adrian.
This is the thing. Like this was Adrian's first movie as well.
I did not know that, and holy shit,
Yeah.
that's wow.
Yeah, because when you look at the whole thing with the with John Carpenter, he is a die-hard stick to the people that stick with him. Every one of his
Yeah,
has got the same people around, or he uses the people he trusts. So you'll see a lot of the same actors, you'll see a lot of the same editors and things like that. So obviously Tommy Lee Wallace,
oh shit, yeah,
as we well know, Tommy Lee Wallace was a big player on Halloween. He then obviously played the Shape as well when Nick wasn't playing the Shape. So you had Nick Castle, who he honoured in this film by
love it.
Tom Atkins' character,
Hmm.
Nick Castle. So, you got that little, it's not really even an Easter egg, it's a in your face, bam, have that. But Tommy Lee Wallace actually played one of the dead pirates, whatever you want to call it. And Rob Botton played the main guy. And the reason why he got it was because he was the makeup guy for this. Now, this is pre The Thing, which is Rob Botton's baby.
Yeah,
So this supersedes The Thing by 2 years, this movie. So when he went in to get the job with John to work as the special effects makeup artist on this movie, he said, I think I can do Blake. And he was like, what are you talking about? He's like, and the first thing John said to him was like, come on then, stand up, let me
yeah,
see. And Rob honestly thought he was going to say, and fuck off. And he didn't. He said to him, yeah,
shit.
you're 6'5". That's perfect. That's just what I need. I need something. I never thought Rob Bottom was 6'5". It's not something that really crosses my mind when I
No,
about people height, but like it was just one of those things that came up in this conversation, and it was like he
yeah.
just hit all the pointers he wanted. So when you'll see the bits with Blake in the church scene at the end, and then you'll see all the arms breaking through all the windows. That's Tommy Lee Wallace, his hands smashing through windows and stuff like that. So you see Tommy in it, you'll see Rob in it, you see John with his cameo in it. There's this, it's just person after person after person, because obviously even Hal goes on to
Oh, Nathan.
Adrian's husband, and him and Adrian play husband, wife, and creep show. So, which, by the way, I need to show you this because lovely Ronnie and Anne made me some creep show popcorn, and I've got
Oh my
got my
god.
George Ferrell one with all the moss on it, and then I've got my cockroaches one. Like,
That
but
is so cool.
Anne made these and bought them with them, and they're the ones that made my creep show um booth I have downstairs.
Yes. Oh,
And they
that
made
is
it
so
for me. And I've
cool.
been to show you for ages, but it's been one of those things where I've not had the sort of
And now you have the link in
yeah,
there.
yeah. So obviously, hence why I have this out today, which you probably can't see because it's so dark in here now. But I have my creep show
Ah.
VHS.
That is so cool. Well, they were doing promotion on the film Assault on Precinct 13, like you said, in England, and they actually visited Stonehenge. What
Nick,
is it with Americans and Stonehenge?
I love to go stand in a field with some building blocks.
Lisa didn't use it in the story like Troll 2 did, but during the trip, they witnessed eerie fog. And this is where the idea came from. Carpenter started to draw on inspiration from it and also from a British film called Tolerenberg Terror from 1958, which dealt with monsters hiding in the clouds. So it was like, oh, what about ghosties hiding in the fog? I
I
bet he
think
didn't think like that, but I would like in my head to think that he thought like that.
yeah, I Now, the concept is
Oh,
basically a ghost story, no matter which way you look at it. So you're not looking, this isn't a slasher, this isn't a gore fest, and this was the problem because when they went back to do the reshoots,
mm-hmm.
the cinema sat down with them and said, you need more blood. You need to make this more bloody because, you know, we want to go for something a bit more than a PG 17, whatever the rating system is in America. We don't want a PG. We want a R rated. So I think that for an R rated for us is an 18.
Oh, okay.
Instead of scaling down the blood, which usually happens in horror movies, they wanted him to scale up it a bit more because if you actually watch Halloween, you'll see there's not that much blood in Halloween. When Michael stabs people, you see a bit, but it's nothing gratuitous.
No.
So it's one of those weird things where you don't actually realize because you always think, oh, Michael Myers stabby stab stab, you know, like it's
But he didn't.
yeah, it's going to be
He
worse.
doesn't. Did you know? I'd love to be able to throw a "Did you know" line out, even though you probably do, because you know. The role of Father Malone was not originally given to Hal Holbrook. It was given to another actor who did actually sign on, who did actually love the script, but then found out that he had prior commitments and could not take part. It was none other than Sir Christopher Lee.
Yes.
That would have been fucking insane. I love Hal Holbrook and very happy to see him on my screen. But you just imagine Christopher Lee doing that performance because it would have been taken to a whole nother level.
Yeah, I mean, we know he can play. I don't think I've ever.
Dramatic.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've seen him play like alcoholic priest before. I've seen him play like Lord Summersgill is where I go when I think Christopher Lee playing a certain level, but like,
Yeah, yeah, I don't think no. I'm trying to go through my Rolodex of useless shit. And I can't even no, not even in Wicker Man. Like he's quite he's he's still your English gentleman.
yeah, it's the crazy Lord, but
Yeah. Yeah,
it's
he's not it doesn't yeah. But I would just Count Dooku, maybe?
yeah, maybe. Like,
Maybe?
there we go. It's a bit better.
Oh, there you are.
Sorry.
You
Thought
weren't
I'd
dark
turn
at all, by the way.
Uh, it felt like it was really dark. Yeah, so I can safely say I don't think, not that I don't think you're doing any good at it, but I have got no frame of reference to say, oh,
Yeah, I get what you mean.
that in that movie. So yeah, he would have been great. I mean, I don't doubt he would have been
Oh,
fantastic.
I
But
really it's Christopher Lee.
it's, I don't know. There's this thing with how I get the impression Hal's quite a small man. I don't know his height, but with the whole Rob Bottom thing at the end where he's sort of leaning over him, I feel like
Yeah, oh,
there's that
yeah.
dynamic where
You wouldn't have that with Christopher Lee
no,
because he's a giant.
yeah. So I feel like the dynamic worked in that respect with him being slightly small, unless that was all just movie magic.
No, no, no. I have this feeling because I'm like trying to rack my brain from like Creep Show, and there was something else I've seen him in. Probably Perry Mason.
He's
Don't
done
ask us.
stuff,
Don't ask about Perry Mason. But yeah, yeah. I think he would have been too tall for it, and maybe the overpowering of Rob Bottom wouldn't have had the same effect because that is pretty like that is harrowing at the end. Um, I was going to say something else. There is a lovely, lovely link to a certain Hitchcock film in this. And when I read it, I was like, oh my God, yeah. So Tom Aikens actually mentions Bodega Bay. Bodega Bay is from The Birds from 1963, where Tippi Hedren's character pulls into a town and all hell breaks loose. Well, guess what happens when Jamie Lee Curtis rocks into town?
Sleeps with a stranger. That's what happens when she creeps in.
She didn't just sleep with a stranger. She started a full blown fucking relationship. They were living together.
I am not joking you. I think I don't know if there was controversy over this because 1980 and
Are they really looking at it?
I don't know where they were. This came out the year I was born, so I don't know where they lived on the spectrum of promiscuous kind of
Hmm.
levels. I mean, 60s, yes, of course, because the whole Woodstock, freedom, women, 70s burning your bra, or going into all that sort of stuff, right? But 1980, I still feel like there would have been an element of she's a hitchhiker and now she's in your bed. That was quick, blimey. You know, do you know what I mean? Like, and Jane at that point as well, this was it was a kind of a sad thing for her because when she was in Halloween, well, not that she expected, she was told by obviously her entire family and all the people around her that work in the industry for years, everybody's going to come a knocking now. Halloween was such a success. You're going to get all this work, prepare yourself. And she didn't. She was in a few
Oh.
TV episodes after Halloween, on like Love Boat. It wasn't Love Boat, but like, you know, that kind of like
Yeah.
style TV show, and nothing really happened for her. And then John rang her up and went, "Look, we're going to do this other movie. I don't know if you'll be interested, but you know, we're going to do explain the thing for the film." And he was like, um, "We're thinking about having you as a more grown up thing, you know, like character, because
Hmm.
obviously Laurie Strode was like 17, 18-year-old babysitter, wasn't she? You know, so she wasn't
Very,
very,
very naive.
yeah. And this one, we want her to be a hitchhiker, and she's going to be promiscuous, and she's going to be have her head screwed on, and she's going to know, you know, we want her to have that kind of motherly instinct as well for the kid when
Yeah.
Adrian's not there with him. You know, do you know what I mean? So she's got to play a multifaceted kind of bunch of characters within this one character. And she was like, yeah, yeah, no, I'd love that. And so they then did the test screens with her and Tom just to see if they had chemistry, and it turns out they did have chemistry. And then that's when they approached Mrs.
Mama.
Ooh. Um, they approached Mrs. Lee and they said, "Oi, you, will you come on our
I
movie?" And she
loved
was like, "Do you know what? Yes,
I
yeah."
loved Janet Leigh in this. I got May vibes from Jaws in from her.
We
Like
will not close the beach.
this ceremony is going ahead. Hella, I actually no, would I've just read that passage right there. That's not happening. It was how easy she was, like how she was like, I'm gonna, this has to be like, we have to do this. To then when it was like shit hitting the fan, she's like, nope, nope, we're not, nope, nothing to do with this. I
And then she
loved
went,
that.
"Yes, I think I'll go home now. Will you drive me home?" It's like, really?
Yeah, her
Because you,
her her assistant was very, very, very fucking patient, and her assistant was played by none other than the legend herself. Trying to find her name because it's skipped my mind, and I want to make sure I get her right name. Nancy Loomis,
Mhm.
who is credited as something different in Halloween because they didn't want to confuse people with the Loomis character from Halloween. But Nancy Loomis played, what was that character name in Halloween?
It was the babysitter.
She
Yeah,
was, yeah. What was her name? E? She was
yeah.
a really annoying one. She's really annoying in thingy. She gets killed in the car in Halloween. Why can't I remember her name? And she's also in Creepshow. No, Halloween 3. She's in Season of the Witch. She plays Tom Aiken's wife, and she's really fucking annoying in that too.
Nancy Loomis was actually at, I think she was at HorrorCon a couple of years back, to be fair.
She was at John's. She was at John's Hollywood Walk of Fame. Because somebody who I watch on YouTube went dressed as her and not Jamie Lee. And there's a moment where she as they're all leaving, she's kind of like following them as they're leaving, and Nancy clocks at him, just goes, "Shit, that me?" She's like, "Uh-huh," and she was like, "Is that me?" Like, you dressed as me, like not expecting anyone to dress as her.
I'm still surprised John turned up to that because he's really
It was so
big.
funny.
He did not want to be there in any capacity. He was like, "Oh,
E.
give me the fucking star, will you? Because I really couldn't give a shit." You know, it feels.
Honestly, go and watch the ceremony itself, because John is literally trying to speed the ceremony guy up who's doing it, and then trying to speed his guests up who are doing it. And he's like, oh, just, and even by the end of it, he goes, let's go get something to eat. Like,
Yeah, he's
eat.
like, I'm done. Fuck off. Just
Oh, it was absolutely hilarious. Right, okay. It's Annie. Freaking hell.
Right.
She plays Annie in Halloween, but in Halloween she's actually credited as Nancy Keys, but her name is Nancy Loomis.
Mhm.
But they didn't want to get mixed up with Samuel Loomis, the Doctor.
Yes.
There you go. Who else was in this film? I'm totally forgetting. Tommy Lee Wallace. Oh, Adrian.
Barbo.
Oh, Bobo. Yeah. Oh my God, that woman.
Stunning.
The hair. It was the hair. Like, she'd give Farrah Fawcett a run for her money. She looked absolutely phenomenal. And now that I know that this was her first ever role, holy shit. There's one scene that really blew my mind, and I'm so glad I read up afterwards, because I would hate to have been able to clock anything in it, because it was such a good scene. It's when she's on top of the lighthouse. So what they were finding was they couldn't actually get the fog, when the fog's meant to disappear around it, they couldn't get that effect. So they had to ask her to do her bit in reverse, so they could have it, so they could do it where and then reverse it back. And she had to do that while balancing, remembering to do everything backwards. And that's her first film.
Mm.
It's crazy. But yeah, at the time she was married to John.
Yeah.
When doing this.
And the thing that annoys me about this as well was the fact that John bullied her into having to smoke. It's not a necessity. She really didn't need to smoke.
No.
It made a difference whether she was a smoker or not. But John said, no, Stevie Wayne is a smoker. You need to smoke, learn to smoke. So she took herself away and taught herself how to smoke for this.
God bless her.
And she was a staunch, I don't want to, I'm a smoker. So I don't know if it became a habit after this, but or she just instantly binned it off. But yeah.
There's a few actresses like that. One that instantly comes to mind is Madge from Benidorm. She is a non-smoker.
Pat Butcher was as well, Pam St. Clement.
Yeah, they had to use herbal cigarettes.
She just didn't smoke. So
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. We were talking earlier about the budget. To cut down on the budget, they had Stevie's radio show playing nothing but jazz because there was no royalties on it.
Yeah, they could get away with, because nobody wants to bloody accept any kind of responsibility for jazz music. It's a weird minefield when it comes to royalties and stuff. It just weird. The premise of the film itself wasn't a bad premise. Basically, what it was the founding fathers of Antonio Bay were based off they stole the goods in I think, I can't really remember because I'll get crossed over with the second one and then the first one. I know something happened that all the people on the boat that drowned on the Dane came back, and 6 must die, because the paperback that was written after the movie, because what happened with John was when he did Halloween and when he did The Fog, he brought someone in to write the book of the movie after the movie got released. So you had a more clearer exposition from start to finish. So if you were confused at the film, you could sit and read the book afterwards. And in the book, it was a massive. It didn't veer from the story that you saw too much, but it really laid into the die. Everybody with a surname that had a surname of the founding fathers that made Antonio Bay, every one of those must be punished. And that's what basically happens. This fog rolls in on the 100th anniversary, and the crew come back to kill the descendants of the founding fathers with the same surnames. So
the 6 original conspirators who stole a gold cross.
That was it. The gold cross, the first one, and then crap in the second one.
Yeah, it was a gold cross because at the end, the
Yes.
father priest
It-
kind
yeah.
of holds it up, and because I think he's the only one
He's the only
it,
one that didn't manage to kill of the six. I
of the
think.
six. That's right. This movie is a pure revenge film.
Mm.
For all it's got ghosts in it, is a pure revenge film, and I love a revenge film. Do you know my most favorite one? County Monte Cristo. That is a banging revenge
And
film.
do you know what? That just reminds me of the movie Sleepers, which is one of the
Yeah.
most amazing films to date. I don't care if it hasn't aged. I don't care anything about that. Ron Eldard in that, and we go back to Ghost Ship. Ron Eldard,
Mm.
Brad Pitt, um,
Oh,
bloody Jason
Patrick.
Patrick, Robert De Niro, Minnie Driver.
Kevin Bacon
Yeah.
plays the
Oh,
baddest of bad
that's the
men.
first time I ever saw Kevin Bacon play somebody that I thought was physically repulsive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like that movie to me will never not be one of the most harrowing films I like. It is stuck with me since I went to the cinema to see it
It's
to this day.
crazy.
Don't know why, just one of those films. Like Sleepers is
It,
a hell of a movie.
it is, and it fell into my lap so weirdly. So we used to have a paper shop at outside of my like near where I work. I used to go in every morning to get my cigarettes, and the woman who worked there was the mother of someone I worked with, who was a friend, and she had this amazing portrait of Sean Connery on her arm, and it was always a conversation point. And I was like, I would always be like, so if it wasn't Sean, who else would it be? And she went, anyone from Sleepers. And I was like, excuse me? And she was like, anyone from Sleepers. Any one of the actors that's in Sleepers. She went, it's one of my favourite movies of all time. And I was like, I've never seen it, which is a very common phrase from me. And she, the following day, when I went in to go and get my cigarettes, there it was on the counter, the VHS, waiting for me. And she went, there you go. She went, bring it back when you're finished. And she went, but I guarantee you, you will absolutely love and hate this movie at the same time. And it really hit a nerve.
Oh, it was a hell of a movie, and I don't think people talk about it enough. And I understand why they don't, because it's a very heavy film, but it's also a revenge movie of epic proportions to the point of where it's a morality thing as well.
Yeah,
So it's not just a pure like people come out and kill you to take revenge, like a lot of
yeah,
things sort of do these days. It was the morality of how many people do you get involved in this lie, which isn't a lie, but is, do you think that Robert De Niro is going to go through what he does? Does
it's like a web of deceit, isn't it?
it is massively, and it's going against everything. You're asking a man of the cloth to put his hand on the Bible and lie, but does the truth outweigh the lie so that these people can get the justice that they need? And it's one of
Yeah,
these kind of, it's such a morally driven revenge film, and I don't feel like you get that kind of thing anymore. Like I think movies, like I know we talked about it with Slay when we were talking to Jimmy
yeah.
in before, movies have lost something recently. Like
Spark.
it's not dead-eyed, don't get me wrong. I don't think every movie that comes out isn't original or isn't. I think this year especially there's been a lot more thought put into a lot more films that you're seeing. But like we have come so far with movie making. Have we overcompensated to such a degree that we've lost the magic that we used to have? Because everybody that looks back at the 80s, that looks back at the late 70s kind of style of movie making, they have this fond nostalgic thing. And I don't know whether that is just because we're Gen Xers, millennials, whatever. We always look back. Nostalgia is a fond thing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, tell me why they can't remake something that outdoes the original anymore. Like you just can't. It doesn't seem to work. It's very rarely like the remake for the Blob was done in the 80s, so it's not like I can even use that as a standard for
No, you can't because the original was the 50s and it was terrible.
exactly. So it's like one of these things where there's just something missing lately, and like I say, Monkey was really good.
Oh, we watched that on Friday and did not appreciate it.
So it's a strange film, but it's one of those things where it's a black horror comedy, so
Yeah,
you know what you're getting into.
I
But
loved it.
again, it felt original. Death of a
Hmm.
Unicorn. I know a lot of people didn't like it, but it was felt really original. It was
Hmm.
nice to see Paul Rudd playing something so random. Like we have a list of Paul Rudd movies, and we have a character list that he plays, which is about this many, and that's not knocking him. That's just
Hmm.
where he sits. But this movie was nice to see because General Ortega was looking the way she looked in this. He acted the way he acted. It was so far
Yeah.
away, and it was just another horror black comedy, and the films, those kind of films that are coming out now, I'm kind of getting a bit excited about. Like we were talking about 28 days, 28 years later. And whilst I'm not overly blown away by it, it weren't shit by any stretch of the
Hmm.
imagination, and it's nice because it felt like, okay, we have the movies that precede it, so we have law that we need to sort of adhere to. However, it's more of it is a character driven movie like the first one was. You're seeing it from the point of view of that you have a protagonist, and you always think the protagonist is going to be Aaron Taylor, but it isn't.
It
It's the
wasn't. That was such a shock. And I really thought, oh, do we spoil it? Is there spoilers in this?
Well, skip ahead if you don't want to hear spoilers. So
Yeah, just for a few minutes, just while we get this out. Because I'm not gonna lie, I watched this on Saturday, but I watched the first two, so I lived in that whole world on Saturday, um, and it stuck with us for a bit. I'm not gonna lie, it has stuck with us for a bit, but I wanted more from a certain character, but I know their movie is coming
yeah,
at the end of the year, beginning of next year, and Nina DaCosta's doing it. I got a feeling it's going to be good. Um, yeah, it's kind of. I totally get what you mean. It feels like there's a little bit of a spark missing. And maybe it is the case of we've been so oversaturated with the likes of, and I don't like to bring this up, but the likes of Blumhouse movies that it. But you know what my feelings were like on Blumhouse movies, and even I'm now seeing that it's starting to get to the point where it's like, ugh. Oh, okay. Like, it's not really that exciting. And I guess because over this year, I've really experimented more with my horror. Like, I
yeah.
started watching body horror. You know, I would never fucking watch that in a million fucking years. But I've started experimenting a bit more, and it's kind of like I was trying to explain this to someone at work because I've told her to go and watch the 28, saga. And when she put the first, she's only 30 years old. And when she put the first one on, she went, I don't like the quality. And I went, okay, I understand that. She went, it's a bit too grainy for my like, and I went, and I totally get that. But did you get the story? Are you actually paying attention to the story? And I feel like that's what I've been doing over the last few months. Is the movies I'm watching, I'm not watching shapes and colors anymore. I'm really fucking paying attention. One movie in particular that has really stuck with me for more reasons than I care to say was The Ugly Stepsister.
I still haven't seen it. It's still on the list.
Dan, oh my God. I've
It's
already told you there's something to
subtitles.
watch this weekend, but at some point watch it.
It's just
Um,
subtitles. It's not that when I've done all day at a computer on my day job, and then
yeah,
it's like I don't have the concentration level to sit and read.
I get that. No,
So
I as a dyslexic, I totally get that. But I had to it didn't feel like I was forcing myself. The dialogue was quite slow and there's not a lot of it.
right,
This is more visual and it's more storytelling through art, like performance art.
right.
Um and I honestly I took away so much from that. I mean, there's some fucking gruesome bits in there and really I had to hold my nerve watching it. But it's really made us appreciate that maybe I have to stop looking at the goriest kill or the glorious kill and actually look at the story behind it. This one particular, I put on Friday. Normally, I won't watch a film that we do for monsters until later on because my memory is so bad that I have to watch it close to the time of recording, or I'm not going to remember anything that happened. I watched this on Friday night. We literally record on a Thursday. So I'm watching it the following day. I love this, that it has stayed in there because of that revenge storyline that's in there. And like I said, it reminds us of the Count of Monte Cristo, and not in the sense of just the revenge side of it, but the revenge for that basically is it's Kill Bill. And that's probably the reason why I love Kill Bill. Because it's like you got to get through moving parts before you get to the main one.
Yeah.
And then this epic sword fight, and it's the guy from Passion of the Christ, and what you call him from Iron Man 3. Can't think of his name at the top of my head right now. Guy Pearce.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that's the film I'm talking about. I hope I'm not butchering this, by the way. But I just remember I think it's the remake. I don't think it's the original.
I think this The Fog is a hell of a movie in the respect that we don't really touch ghost stories too much. Not because we don't like them. It's just not something that really comes in front of us.
No, I was thinking of this the other day because Ghost Story, I was like, oh, Ghost Story, like vampires, apart from a certain handful of vampire films, I tend to kind of stay away from vampire films. Like I don't get me wrong, I love Lost Boys and Interview with the Vampire, and I think that's more of a nostalgic thing for me. But I'm just not overly meh to vampire. Okay. And Ghost Stories, I was like, do I like Ghost Story? And then I remembered one of my favorite movies is a ghost story movie, and I don't talk about it enough, and it's The Changeling. I fucking that again, that's a stir of echoes. It's like stir of echoes. That's the best way to describe it. But it's so good. And I can't think of who the main guy is at the top of my head because I'm trying to look for the Count of Monte Cristo to make sure I'm not talking a load of shit.
You talk about it was Donald Sutherland, wasn't it, in The Changeling?
No.
Or is it? No, it's oh my God.
No.
No, oh God, stop shouting at us because I know you are, so stop it. I'm completely blank. Oh
I'm
yeah.
nearly there, and I was
Yeah.
right about the Count of Monte Cristo. It is. Oh my god, it's George C. Scott. That's who plays him. He was a handsome motherfucker. He really was. Doctor Strangelove, Beauty and the Beast, 12 Angry Men, Death of a Salesman. The man's done it all. Stage, film, TV.
Death
Like,
of the Salesman was when I was in my must do amateur Amdram phase, and we did
Amdram.
yeah, Amdram. Did that Amdram phase, and Death of a Salesman was what we practiced for. So I know that soundtrack back to front.
Oh my god, this man's filmography is just actually he's more of a TV actor because he's TV before like and theatre. Yeah, it's like a ratio of film, telly, theatre.
Like
Loved
Hal as
it.
well, though. Hal was very much TV orientated.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's what I mean by the whole Perry Mason thing.
Yeah, he was
Because
very much TV orientated. He did movies, but they were very slotted in. They weren't like one after another. You know, he didn't
no, no.
another. He was quite TV orientated as well. So I think this movie, I think had it not had the paperback, the story written, a lot of people did complain it wasn't clear enough within the movie that they were coming back for
Really?
six souls to take the revenge on the ancestors, because a lot of people said that they didn't quite get that in the 1980 version. So the paperback at the time helped the exposition that they needed. So people went out and bought the book to not understand the film, but to fill in the gaps that they had. So
I get that. Comic books do the same. But I kind of got it. Like I got what got me. Well, just to go to the opening, love the opening. So Halloween that it's not Halloween though, but it's still recognizable as a John Carpenter opener with a clock. And when they think credits are coming up, love that effect. Also love the fact that when John walks in and then walks back out again, I'm like, now why do I know that face? Oh, that's right, that's John Carpenter. But it's the brick that just comes out of the wall.
Why not, eh?
Exactly, why not? There's no explanation for it. There's no explanation for it. He's not looking around as, "Ooh, where did that come from?" He just simply goes straight in it. Binks, that is your nail. Sorry, he's just put my nail right in my leg. Dick. Um, yeah, he just goes straight for the book
Yeah,
and was straight in the story. No
yeah.
messing about.
And that's why I think I prefer this. Not why I prefer this version, because this version is far superior, but it's more. You don't need to that question answered.
No,
You don't need the question of why is it the vicar that found the book? Why isn't he questioning what happened? Why did that brick fall down? You don't find yourself asking those questions,
no.
which I did in the second one. So
Yeah,
it like
I get that.
I I like the fact that the deeper he got into the book, the more he understood the premise of the revenge of the six and what the six actually did and why they're coming back and avenging
Yeah, he.
themselves.
I think by the time we get halfway through, he's already, and especially when he's in the meeting with Janet Leigh,
Yeah,
I think he's already realised his fate is sealed, and he's not getting out of this alive. I think he fully accepts that.
yeah.
Hence the reason why he drinks quite a bit. Love the fact that Tom Aikens just takes a bottle out of his hand and flings it across the room. Like, it was so dramatic. I loved it.
Yeah, it's weird because I'm so used to seeing Tom with his tash.
I
Now,
always find it so strange when he doesn't have it.
when I think of Tom, I always think of Tash. It just
Yeah.
comes hand to me. So whenever I see him without one, and I know he's in a lot of stuff without one. I don't think he's got one in Creepshow, to be fair, when he's playing
He's
Jokin's
a
dad.
dad, yeah.
No, I don't think he has one in that, or he might not have one in. Does he have one in Season of the Witch?
I want to say
I don't remember if he
yes.
has a tash or not. But you know what I mean? Like that's where my brain goes to with him. So seeing him clean shaven is a shock. And this was the first time you saw Jamie with the short hair as well. Because off the back of this, she then got prom night, she then got Terror Train. So this is the thing that even though everybody thinks Halloween was what launched her career, no, the fog launched her career into becoming a full-time scream queen.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Oh yeah.
wouldn't have got Terror Train and she wouldn't have got Prom Night had she have not done this. And we have done Prom Night, so you can always go back and watch that. Very odd film. Um, but again, Prom Night,
It's still in there. Like it's still part of the horror lexicon of like
scary.
it's slashes, isn't it?
But this is
Um,
only the second. Her and her mum only worked twice together in movies, and this was
which
one.
is shocking.
Yeah. Uh,
Shocking.
she did this one and then Halloween H2O with Janet because Janet
Oh.
played the character she plays in Psycho had the same Psycho car. It was all very,
She
very
dressed the costume that she had on is exactly what Marion Crane is wearing. The car is Marion Crane's car. Yeah, it blows my mind that them two did not, because if you didn't know they were mother and daughter, you
yeah.
would never have guessed from them working together. They don't interact with each other. Then there's not a lot of scenes where they're in them together. They're very far apart from each other. Um, he did have a tash.
Right.
That's why it looks weird now. He was fantastic in this. Very much the hero of the hour.
But that's the
Yeah.
odd thing about Tom, right? When you look at 80s movies at the time, your leading men were your Kurt Russells. I know Kurt is in John's universe, but like when you
But not
start,
yet though, is he?
no, not until 82. I think The Thing is the first movie he did.
Uh,
No, actually, Big Trouble in Little China's around the same time, isn't it? So there's that quick succession where The Thing and Big Trouble in Little China were like back to back, I think, or Escape from New York. I think it was just those three movies
yeah.
from John were in that a very short space of time,
Big Trouble in Little China is 86.
right? I
The
think then,
Thing is 82.
yeah, and then I want to say Escape from New York might have been 81 or 84. I can't remember.
81. So you
Yeah.
probably got Escape from New York. Oh my God, so Escape from New York's first, then The Thing, then Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah, so my point is you're looking at these, John goes to then goes to this kind of leading man. And I think at the time when you look at the movies, it was your Slides, it was maybe I know Arnie wasn't quite there. We weren't at Conan just yet, but like
No, but we're heading in that direction. The action star is being
yeah.
created.
So that's your typical leading man, I feel, that was coming out of the woodwork. So Tom, for me, whilst he's absolutely brilliant in this, he wouldn't have been the guy that
No.
put a line up and I've gone, pick me a leading man. I wouldn't have gravitated towards Tom, not
No.
because his acting chops aren't there. It's just when you're looking, he doesn't look like one. And that's
Visually.
you shouldn't. And I'm not, this is the years of brain of being stereotyped because this is what you've had shoved in front of you for so long. And I'm not saying he didn't do a bloody good job at this, and I'm not saying he didn't deserve it. So that's not what I'm saying. He's just not your typical lead man, I feel. So I do love the fact that he I think the thing with Thomas as well, he looks a lot older than he is.
Yes.
So in
Yes,
this
he
film,
does.
in this film, I have no idea how old he is, right? And then when he goes on to do Halloween 3, he looks like a 40-something-year-old man,
It's a
which
tash, isn't
he
it?
kind of is, though. I don't know. I think he was in his mid to late 30s when he was in Halloween 3. So now, because he just done his last ever appearance in the UK For the Love of Horror last year, I think.
Oh, really?
I think so. I think it was For the Love of Horror he did last year, or he did it the year before. But it was something like it was going to be his last ever one because I know Sean. I think Sean is his management, and Tom's
Right.
obviously now at a point where he's in his 80s, early 90s.
Oh, let the man rest.
So
He's
yeah,
just.
exactly. Put your feet up, mate. If you've got the
Oh, you
money
have.
in the world, well, if you've got enough money that your family and you can
Yeah,
see for what
rest.
time you've got left, just put your feet up and
You have played your part. You will always be forever loved in horror. Forever loved in horror. I get what you mean though. He is not your typical, atypical looking leading man. However, there is still something so fucking charming about him. Especially when Jimmy Lee gets in the van for the first time and she's like, "Are you weird?" And he's like,
yeah.
"Yeah, I'm weird."
And then
And she's
she's
like,
like,
"Good, I like weird."
yeah, and then she was like, "Oh, that's really refreshing," because the last guy wasn't. He's like, "I thought this was your first time hitchhiking." She was like, "First week," or something. So she'd lied to him as well. But yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is when you do a double feature, you always look at what did they do with the second movie, and when you try, because you have to compare because a lot of the script has been taken from the first.
You could tell there was a lot, especially Stevie's lines, a lot of Stevie's lines taken.
Exactly. The majority of Stevie's part, which was played by Selma Blair in the remake, and who I must say did a great job. She
Fine.
fucking hated that movie. But you look at Tom Welling, and Tom Welling is the poster child for leading men at the time because, of course, we all know he was Clark Kent / Superman in Smallville. So he was at the height of his fame. Smallville was in season 4 or 5, I think, at the time when it was being shot. I think I lost my way with that. I think I watched the
Never
first
watched
couple of
it.
seasons, and that was it
He
because
did. I didn't.
I was a big Superman fan because he was nearly my dad. So I was always like living in
It's a true story.
true story. But yeah, so I see what they were doing in the 2005 one. However, when you can compare the roles, you've got Tom Welling against Tom Aiken. You've got Jamie Lee against Maggie Grace, no contest.
No contest. A
Adrian
mop could have
against
done
Selma.
better.
Well, that's the thing. You got Adrian against Selma. Now, in this occasion, Adrian wins hands down, but Selma isn't bad at
She's
what she
she's
does.
not that far behind. Like
No.
she could stand back. Honestly, Selma Blair was absolute. I love Selma Blair.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of admiration for this woman. When she came out with her, is it multiple sclerosis she's got?
MS. Yeah.
MS, And when she came out and she became public and she started talking more about, I did not feel 1 ounce of pity for her.
Mm.
I felt nothing but strength coming out of her. How strong she is, especially with the fact that her speech is debilitated. Like she could not talk the way that we have normally heard her talk. It was so powerful. And her to walk the red carpet with her cane, with her aide, was just, all I wanted to do was do the whole we're not worthy, Selma Blair. We're really not. I've always have done. I don't know what it is about that, and I don't know if it's because of Legally Blonde. I've just got this thing like I gravitate towards. Oh, and
All
oh,
intention.
The Sweetest Thing. Is it The Sweetest Thing with Cameron Diaz and Christine Applegate?
It might have been. I don't know. I didn't really. That wasn't
Oh,
when movies.
it's hilarious. But I can't. There's some
Hellboy.
Hellboy. Yes.
So Selma,
Um.
yeah. So like I say, in this role, Adrian wins because Selma did a great job, but Adrian wins on this case. And then obviously you've got, and there is no contest here. The guy who played the priest in the remake didn't even bother learning his name. Don't mean that horribly, Mr. Man. You're not listening anyway.
Mr. Man, why you so angry all the
And
time?
why are you an insane person and then you turn into a drunk and then you're completely coherent and then you're a drunk again? That
Could
story,
we? Yeah. Hal Holbrook played it so.
he was just
And
a drunk.
he was, but he had his moment. Like at the beginning, you don't really know. You
No.
kind of think, you kind of like, okay, he's more concerned about his wine than he is paying his staff.
Yeah.
Right? There seems to be a problem there. But as the movie progresses on, the alcoholism starts to take a back seat to the fact that he is literally drowning in all of this information that has just come to him. And he's starting to realize his time is almost, he is going to pay the price for his great grandfather's mistakes. And it's the progression of him, it's the transition from how we first see him to how we end it with him. You do not get that with this. Why am I talking like this? You do not get that with the second priest. He is
No.
just angry from start to finish. If we're going to move on to the second one, I have the kill count
All right.
for the 1981. I actually have it for the 2000.
Yeah.
15 in total.
Right.
11 men, 3 victims of unknown gender, and 1 woman. Now, I'm guessing the 15 is from the part of it is from the ship. I'm guessing.
Yeah, the
Because I
name.
was like, there was no distinct, this is this person, this person, this person. I'm guessing that's part of the ship, and 1 woman, which was the babysitter. Oh my God, that woman. I was like, no, don't go out the door. It's the
I
fact
mean,
that she walked out and then walked back in again, and I was like, just shut it.
one of the men doesn't know. Is it the second one he dies in, and you see him die in the second one, but not in the first one? I can't remember. You know the weather station guy, Dan.
No, you do. Yes,
He
because you
dies
see
in
the.
the second one, but does he die in the first one?
Yeah, because she's on the phone to him. And he's like with his banging on the door. It literally is. I think it's scene for scene, that one, because
Except
it's
for the
banging on the
fire.
door.
Except for the fire, because that's
Stevie has the fire. So Stevie has a piece of, I think it's a rock
driftwood.
in the second one, but it's the driftwood because it
I know.
changes, the wording changes on it.
It's the mirror. She has the mirror with all the barnacles on, and it starts leaking water.
Is that the second one?
Mirror in the second one. Yeah, the first
Because
one
the
is
first
just
one,
a bit of word with the Dane written on it. Yeah.
yeah, but it changes. The word changes,
Yeah.
and then it goes back to the Dane. But
Six
it's
must die, I think it says on it.
yes, that's it. Yeah. So when he's in that room, she's on the phone to him. I'm talking about the first one. There's
Yeah.
banging on the door, and you can hear him walking to the door because she's like screaming, "Get it, don't answer the door!" Yeah, he gets killed.
Yeah. I couldn't remember whether they both died or not.
That was a really long answer to yes.
Well, the second one, my opinion of the second one is it's like now some of you will get this reference, some of you won't. It depends. It's like the CW did a movie.
Oh my God, I totally get. I'm Captain America, and I get that reference.
It is one of those things where you've got your key players, you've got your stars of the time that were in, and it was for 18 million at the time. The budget went majoritively on the CGI effects. Now, they changed the story going into the second one because in the first one, the fog consumed and killed the crew of the Dane because they were following a campfire lit by the 6 founding fathers of the island, and they thought it was they were being guided towards it, and then they got killed by the fog. I don't think the fog was an entity at that point. I think the ghosts made the fog an entity in the first one. In the second one, the beginning bit, you don't get a story time. You get, here's a flashback. So you get to watch
Oh yeah, you've got to actually see it.
how the ship got consumed by flames after they were robbed by the founding fathers of Antonio Bay, right? So they've changed it there. They were robbed by them, and then they set fire to the ship, and the whole of the all the people on the Dane died. Now, oddly, she's on there. She's
Yeah,
she's
I
a
didn't find that out.
reincarnation of
Jane.
she's a reincarnation, and this is where they lost me straight away. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Maggie Grace, you see a flashback and you see her all dolled up in, like, I don't know whether you call it colonial clothes. I don't know what period it's 1800s early.
Pirate.
Not
It's
quite
pirate.
Elizabeth Swann. She's not quite Elizabeth Swann, but
She's nearly there.
yeah, so she's married to what I would presume would have been the mayor of this town when they settled on land, kind of character guy, who at first I thought was Boris the Blade from Snatch, but then I realized
Oh my gosh, yes.
yeah, it took me a second. I was like, is that Boris the Blade? You know, you're like,
Oh my God, I see it.
but it's not him. But yeah,
Oh.
and it was like, okay, because then the next thing you see is this person. You see I think it goes to the first set of kills on the boat, or you get the same bit at the beginning. Stevie does a talk on the radio. They set the exposition that Tom Welling does these boat trips out, and they're party boats, not the one where they die on it, but they do these excursions for fishermen and stuff, and they're not very good at it. And then they drop them off, and then there's this whole thing where the boat then gets taken out by Tom Welling's sidekick, who's a new character that wasn't in the first one. Or if he was, no, he did have a friend that was out on a boat in the first one, but you never really
We
saw
don't
him
see
until
him.
he was
He's just,
dead.
yeah. There's no,
And then
there's,
no,
oh,
and then in this one, this is where it starts, isn't it? The fog starts to roll in when the seagrass is out at sea, and Tom's little lackey has taken a bunch of people out on a party boat, but it's only 3 people, and it's really not a party, or 4 people. It's
the
not really.
fuck was that guy doing?
I have no idea what the hell that. Do you know what I mean? This is why it felt very watered down, very made for TV, very CW, because it was like
I get that reference so much.
it was like an episode of like Pretty Little Liars, an episode of
It was so
Smallville.
weird.
It was just an episode of something. That's what it felt like to me.
Yeah, and the thing is, I said it, Dan, it's not terrible. This actually, so this all started just before 2005, when Deborah Hill's still alive. And John Carpenter and Deborah Hill expressed interest in actually remaking it.
Yeah.
And they're both credited as producers. However, Deborah actually died before the film got made, and John, yeah, and John walked on set, said hello, said goodbye. That's as much as he had to do with the film.
Yeah.
But they still put their names to it.
John has a really good ability. Once he's made it, it then becomes not precious to him. He loves his movies. They are his babies and his
I
children.
like that.
But he has the ability to just go, if you want to remake it, you remake it. See how well you can do. And he has this ability to just switch off to it. So obviously you've had the Rob Zombie remakes of Halloween, and now and then you've got obviously this remake of The Fog, and then there was the remake of Assault on 13. So people have tried. They've not necessarily failed. They've just not replicated it.
Yeah, it's just not the same. There's a certain charm and sparkle about a John Carpenter film, and you can't. There's sometimes you just can't quite capture it with CGI. You really can't, and this is a CGI fest movie, which is such a shame when the original pays so much homage to makeup and the fact that, one of the world's top leading makeup artists in the making is your main guy, and then to go and do a remake with CGI, side feels a little bit lazy for my liking. Um, there was something else. Why is I'm thinking of like 100 things at once.
I think Dan's kill in this one was good, but when I go back to the fact that in the first one, I think the fog became an entity that was made supernatural through the ghosts being created. They then
And they
sort of had some sort of I don't know what you call it, some sort of controlling of the fog. The
Yeah, yeah,
first one.
because it kind of sorry, Adrian's character Stevie, she's in the lighthouse that basically sees over the town. She can see where it's spreading to, and she's given you street names, so it sounds like they're moving amongst the streets, and you don't really get that in this.
No, because the second one is based on fire, right? And this is the weird thing about the second one. The fog brings, it's the fog that is the paranormal entity. So it's not the ghosts so much in this. It
Right.
is the fog that is killing the people. So the babysitter in the second one, when she gets all moldy and rots and is laying there because she's been touched by the fog because it's come up the drain pipe, she's all like, "Nyeh," and it was the fog that did that to her, not the ghosts. And then like obviously I don't know, because it didn't affect everybody that it touched. It just got her and she rotted for some reason. Um,
Right.
but it was a fire-based thing. And so Dan's kill in the weather studio in the second one I thought was pretty good. That was
Yeah.
a hell of a thing. Like he went outside, didn't think anything of it, and then next thing you know, he's getting thrown through a plate glass window by fog. And then smashed up against the back as a ball of flames because all of them died in some form of fire.
And
Event.
that would make sense if fire was used and it's part of, like if it's part of the revenge thing.
But
I have
none of the ghosts really did the killings, as far as I can remember in the second one. Now, bear in mind, I am going to preface this by
I
saying
didn't watch it. Yeah.
I zoned out a couple of times in the second one. I did because it got to a point, like you say, when it gets to a CGI driven story, when you've just come off of the back of something that's also practically done, and it's not a
Mhm.
matter of me being a purist and going, oh yeah,
No, 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 not at all. No, CGI has its place,
it
but
does.
I
But
feel like if you are remaking something that is that is based in practical, then why would you not try and I understand people want to try and make it their own, and I get that, and there's no problem with the changes that they made in this movie, even the shitty twist ending with fucking Blake's wife. Like, I'm totally cool with that. I know what it is now. It's revealed. I've got it written down. Captain Blake's wife, who drowned in 1871, and Elizabeth Williams are the same person
no, they're not.
through reincarnation.
Yeah.
This is why Elizabeth has recurrent dreams of drowning throughout the film. She was recalling the dying moments of her previous incarnation.
Oh, it's just absolute bullshit on
I
this.
love it.
Yeah. I mean, this is the thing. She comes out of the dark as a hitchhiker, and Tom Welling, Nick Castle pulls over and he like starts chatting her up because he can hear her voice. And it turns out that she ran off in the middle of the night and left him like 6 months earlier to go to New York. Didn't tell her
And
family
he's
leaving.
been banging Stevie.
Well, that's kind of the thingy I got, the impression I got.
Hmm.
And then she's like, "Oh, so you've not missed me then?" Like nothing else has happened, and she jumps in the car, no suitcase, just a backpack, and I'm like,
You, you
"You've
really did her
hitchhiked all the
voice.
way there, right? Okie dokie." And it's like, I don't know, it was very bizarre.
You really did her voice more justice than what it actually. That honestly, it's the monotone.
I I have an issue with Maggie Grace, and that is that somehow she manages to bring a movie down, and I don't know whether that
She brings the tone down.
I don't think it's her specifically her acting skills or anything. I just feel like she keeps getting cast in these parts, like in Lost. Jesus Christ, if I could throw her out of the window, I would have done. before the plane crashed.
She is an absolute mood killer.
Yeah, and in Taken.
Christ almighty, yes, she's in that too, isn't she?
And then in this, it's kind of that all those three parts have sort of like this commonality. I'm not saying they're the same parts, but they are a commonality where she just plays this very
Yeah.
blah character, and that's if that's how
Bland.
she's written, and she's acting like that's how she's written, then that's
And if you're doing a big reveal that I am this reincarnated person, then fucking ham it up a bit, like, moo haha, look what I just did, the big reveal. No, it's so bland.
it really is. I mean, the way that they build up, like the end church scene is a beautiful thing in the
It is, yeah.
the fog machine brings all the fog in. You then see the eyes of all the ghosts, and then Blake comes out with his big cutlass, and it's like they're iconic. Those pictures for a reason.
They do look great.
And in this, the church scene itself was such a letdown. The CGI glass and it going through and stabbing the priest. And then in the first one, there was this whole thing where they'd melted down the gold and made the cross out of the gold that they stole, right? So that and then obviously Blake comes over and tries to superpower or superheat the cross to kill the priest, and luckily Tom rips him away before he has the possibility to do it. So you have that element of, oh, he's safe now, it's fine. And then the ending comes and he gets killed by Blake anyway because they come back. So
Yeah.
and I love that about the ending. It's like that false ending thing.
I literally, I was like, breathed a sigh of relief and then went, oh no,
because you didn't get false endings as much back then. So I think that ending was fantastic. When you compare it to the stabby stab of the CGI glass going literally
in the eye.
But not just that, there was no blood on the glass as it passed off the side of the body. And we're supposed to sit here and go, oh, this is great. No. And then he gets I think he eventually gets set on fire or something at some point. And then
there's a lot of fire in it.
and this is what I mean. When you look at the fog in the second one, it is the entity, it is the protagonist, it is the evil, whereas in the first one, it's not. The fog was what happened. It was the reason why they died. Kind of the reason why they died.
It was whether they used the fog as in a way to trick them. So they created the fire on the beach, which made it look like the lighthouse that they were heading into, and in actual fact, they were heading into their doom. It's exactly, it's trickery, and that is a great way to. It's a great way to start to the origins of a revenge film.
Yeah, and the second one shit itself after that kill with the priest. Well, I think it shit itself before then, but it shit itself in the respect of that no empathy for her whatsoever. Could not give a flying fuck about her not being able to sleep at night because she's having dreams of drowning. The second one, she finds the book. Excuse me. She goes into his boathouse, right? And suddenly she just falls into the water because she's trying to climb something which she shouldn't be climbing, falls in, gets tangled in some seaweed in her Gerard Way marching band fucking coat that is vile and it's velour, and there's no way that fucking thing would come out ever again the same after she got out of that.
It will shrink.
It was, and so magically she goes to grab a brick and this plastic brick comes off in her hand, and then there's the book and she's waving this book around, and I'm like, you're going to get that wet in a minute, stop putting it in the water. And it was bugging me more that she was getting the book so close to the water than it was whether she was going to survive or not. So I was like, yep, I have
see, in the first one, we just have a brick fly out of a wall and a book is revealed,
and you just go, yep,
okay. And then she has to be like, look at this, everyone. Look, I got a book.
Yeah. And I nearly bounded to get this book. And it's like, yeah. And then she's going around to everybody going, will you help me? Will you help me? And even Tom Welling's absolutely done with her shit at that point. And he's like, no, my friend's just been pulled off of a boat where everybody's died on it. I want to be with my friend. Can you just wait. And she's like, I want to read this book I found. Ooh.
Oh my God,
And
that
was
voice
like,
of hers. That
no.
voice. Do you know those? I will. Tom Welland's turtlenecks aside, he was such a wet blanket in this. He was not a great. He was not good.
They
I
wrote really strangely in this book.
Yeah, it's so weird because I don't know. He's not terrible by any stretch, but he's still like you could take him out and the film would be exactly the same.
Yeah, because it's Elizabeth's story.
Yeah, it's got fuck
Not
all to do with him.
and
And
the end is very weird because it's like I can't remember whether it happens in this way or the other way, but the curiosity gets the better of her when she sees all the ghosts appear in the fog. So instead of walking away, she walks towards Boris the Blade, which is not Boris the Blade, and their version of Blake, and she starts kissing a ghost. She is necking a ghost who is not
full
gonna
on.
lie, a good 20, 30 years older than her at this
Oh, it's a
point.
marriage of convenience.
Oh yeah. And you're like, and then she just goes from human
To
to
ghost.
1800s ghost. And I'm like,
Yeah.
right, okay. I think the guy dies, it gets ripped to shreds and then set on fire by all the people just before. I can't remember. It's very weird. One of the founding fathers guys, the guy that's supposed to be with the Janet Leigh character, he gets burnt up in the middle of the graveyard.
Yeah.
And then all the ghosts are surrounding watching him, and then she finds the ghost, and then she necks the old dude, and then they're happily ever after as ghost people and disappear into the thing. And the ending is just Tom Welling standing in the middle of a graveyard where the guy has just been set on fire, but it doesn't even look like he's even been there at all.
Yeah.
No pile of ash, no nothing. And he's just standing there
No,
going,
nothing.
Elizabeth! Elizabeth!
It's
Credits.
me. Hi.
I'm the problem, it's me. Yeah, it's just the credits roll, and you're just like,
What?
what?
I'm not gonna lie, I did get very confused about the whole Elizabeth thing, so that's why I had to write it down because I was like, what has just happened now? Why is she a ghost? Did I miss something? I
It was
don't feel
taken.
like I missed anything.
No, see, that's the thing. I thought I missed stuff, and I don't think I did. It feels like they took it in a different direction to try and make it somewhat of its own, which
Which is
I
fine.
applaud that because it's
Mm-hmm.
like we don't want a carbon copy. When the first
No,
was that good, you don't need to remake word by word or scene by scene. That's not what I'm personally looking for. But the avenue they went down with the ghost lady reincarnation. If she's a reincarnation, how did she just go from human to ghost in a
ghost.
blink of an eye like
She
that?
she wouldn't go backwards either because reincarnation is going forward. Yeah?
It's like they didn't have a clue. They've done no research on how that would work at all.
I'm
And it's
right
like,
though.
yeah, because reincarnation is all about
From
being.
one life to another.
Yeah.
Not we're not one life going backwards to the other.
No, reincarnation is you sometimes you're aware of your past life when you move forward, but you're born
But
again.
you
You're born
but you're
again.
never going backwards.
No.
The
You
fucking
can be
idiots.
aware, like that's why they say that
Oh
in
yeah, the whole
when
past
you're in
lives
that,
thing.
the deja vu situation when you're looking at
Uh,
past things because they feel like you've been there before in a past life. So
it's just a glitch in the
reincarnation.
matrix for me.
Oh yeah. But yeah, so I just don't understand the logic of that route that they went down with her.
No,
Um,
no, and
it doesn't seem like it fit in the story. Like,
it doesn't pay off.
no, because is the fog supernatural? Are the ghosts controlling the fog, but you can't see the ghosts because the ghosts? But it just had none of the charm of the first one. There
No,
was none of
no.
the fear. You weren't scared of a bunch of.
Oh no, I was terrified of the fact that I couldn't see anything. Like, I know fog.
Hmm.
I get how fog works, but there was nothing in there. Like you didn't know where anyone was until they were there, and I love that aspect of it. It just I don't mind the idea. I wouldn't have even minded if they actually went and did scene for scene, but sharpened it, improved it. Give us some good kills. If you want to go down that route of this is your form of revenge film, I'm going like killing is the like because to be honest, the death scenes in there in the original felt like that wasn't the main part.
Yeah, it wasn't about that. I don't feel like when they wrote it, it was supposed to be about the death. I think it was basically, like you say, I think that maybe they were looking at it for like a supernatural revenge movie. I mean, obviously we can't ask Deb now, and
I know.
John doesn't give a shit if anyone ever asks him a question. He's only interested in playing his keyboards. Which I tell you what, when I'm 80 something and I want to play my fucking
Hey,
keyboards, crack on.
he earned that right to play that
Exactly.
keyboard.
Yeah, so
He's given enough to us. Let's just be grateful for what we've got.
but I do feel like I'm with you. I feel like it was based more on a supernatural kind of revenge plot than it was supposed to be like a gore, murder, horror.
Yeah,
And
and I'm fine with both. Like, I don't care. Like, I know The Changeling is kind of like my staple when it comes down to ghost films. Like, I'm reaching that height because even though The Changeling's not really that scary, but at the time when you think about when it came out, like the ball scene,
yeah.
it's so iconic. It's used in one of the scary movies, for fuck's sake. But it's still at the time thinking of, like, it gives you a chill. Like, there's this tiny little chill, and that's what this movie did. I constantly kind of like had this, like, even though it was hotter than hell while I was watching it because we had a really, really hot weekend, I felt cold. It was very atmospheric as well. I felt like I was in that fisherman's town. It's like when I watch Sinners. I
Mm.
feel like in Sinners I can feel the sun hitting us because of the whole atmosphere of the movie, the music, the cinematography, and I felt the complete opposite, the cold, the grim, the northeast in that movie.
That's another movie that I forgot to mention when I was talking about original movies. That kind of that's a vampire movie, but you didn't have a fucking clue it was a vampire movie.
I didn't,
And
because I don't know if I would have watched it if I knew. I'm not gonna
I
lie.
did not expect it to go the way it went, and I've seen it twice now. I mean, obviously it's available to buy
Twice.
on Amazon Prime. You can buy home cinema it. And
Please do.
it's I will say it's probably a modern day masterpiece, that movie.
Yeah.
For the sheer reason of the way that they use the music, and they use a time where you don't feel alienated as a and I'm going to say this, and please don't misinterpret what I'm saying. As a white person, I have no idea the struggles someone went through
Mhm.
in the prohibition times as a black person. I cannot have a level of empathy or understanding, or I just can't. I don't. It's not something I can insert myself in and go,
Mhm.
oh yes, I can see how they've. I can't do that.
No.
But this film put you straight in there, and you were
Yeah.
with them, and you were like,
Oh,
you were part of that group. There was no like alienation to any kind of
no.
minority or majority in it. You were part of that group. You were
Yeah.
going through from the start to the beginning, from the beginning to the end as a part of that group, and you were just sucked into that whole world from the minute it started till the end. And you forget Michael B. Jordan is not a twin.
No. There is not two of. I mean, we wish there was two of them, but there's not. There's only one. Now, my husband is a hard nut to crack when it comes down to movies. If it's something that is like the Transformers, we know what we're getting with that. It's not Oscar worthy. We know exactly what we're watching. But when it comes down to movies where there's so much critical acclaim to it and people are like banging on, gotta see this, gotta see this, he goes in there quite stern, like, I will make my own mind up. You will not. No one's swaying me. And sometimes that can be to his own detriment because he can come out feeling like he's so pent up that he's got such a thought that it ruins it for him.
Yeah,
Um, but this took me by surprise. I really didn't know how, because I loved it, but I
yeah.
didn't know how he was going to react to it. And when we finished, I went, "What do you?" I was like, "So, what do you think?" And he was like, "I fucking loved it." He went, "That
Yeah.
was absolutely brilliant." And he was like, "There's something about it that I can't put into words properly. Why? Like, I
Mhm.
can't get there." Like, when we watched Everything Everywhere All at Once, he was speechless.
Yeah, that was
He
probably
did
one
not
film.
he did not know how to react.
That film took me by complete surprise, and I saw that before it got Oscars, and I think it was before it got Oscars.
It was a
I
New
either
Year
left,
film for us, so
say I either
maybe.
left it really late or
Mm-hmm.
watched it before. I can't remember, and I was just blown away by the how bananas it was. But
Yeah.
then when you really boiled it down to what it was, which is just a movie
It's
about a family,
it's
it's
family. It's just
absolutely beautiful
family of
filmmaking.
disconnect.
Yeah, and it's an absolutely beautiful piece of filmmaking, and this is what Sinners felt like. Like I say, I'm not saying all cinema is shit. I'm not saying all
No,
cinema is
no.
lacking,
It
because you
has.
will get your movies like Everything All at Once, and you'll get your movies like Sinners, and they come along and they make you feel again, and that's what you want. You want to feel. You want to. I want to empathize with characters, because I'm sick of just going into a movie and sitting there going, "Can't wait till everybody dies."
Can't wait till you're dead. Can't
Yeah,
wait to see your death
Cora. Oh,
scene.
I fucking
No,
hate you. Go off your truck.
I want to go along with the journey with someone. I am very character driven when it comes down to even television. Like it sounds ridiculous, but the royal family is one of my favorite television programs. It's a UK, anyone listening outside of the UK, it is a UK program where basically a family just sits and watches the telly. But it's the dynamic between every character, it's the characteristics of everyone being so different, but also being really familiar at the same time. And I love shit like that. So when I get grip, like Michael B. Jordan, I didn't know which twin I wanted to follow more.
Yeah.
I was so in it, like I was like, just join together, be together. But you can't, because you are the same person. It was just, it was mesmerizing. Um, I I've completely, I did forget about Sinners there. Like literally just came to us when I was thinking of atmosphere, because I could feel the sun hitting me.
The music, they say it's a modern day musical. That's what they've called Sinners. And
The music really makes it mind.
I have the soundtrack on my
Oh, really?
Spotify, and it's absolutely stunning. It's one of those soundtracks where when you're driving along and you've got it playing,
Oh,
with the sun blaring as well,
puts
because
you in a place, doesn't it?
we're in the midst of a fucking vile heat wave to anybody that's not in the UK. And yes, you can moan and say, ha ha ha, 30 degrees is nothing. No,
It's, we've got no air.
no aircon, and the walls in these houses are built to keep heat in. Go on TikTok, all of your American friends and Chinese friends and Japanese friends have all saying exactly the same thing. Oh my God, help us. I've seen people laying on the floor that are from Texas moaning about how bad it is here because it
We've
hit.
got no air.
And so when you're driving along and you're playing like the soundtrack to Sinners, and you've got
Oh,
like
that
the
guitar.
banjo going off, and like it's a whole
It's
that song in the middle where they brought all of the
oh, where the whole where
together,
everything just collided and
which then brought Parkour Jimmy Savile to the front.
oh, what's his
Guy,
name? He's so good.
I can see his face. I've gone blank on his name. Jack O'Bannon. Jack O'Bannon, is it? Jack?
Thank God that I have my laptop here so I can
Yeah,
fact check
I
this.
think it's Jack O'Bannon.
It is Jack O'Connell.
Oh, there we go.
You were close. You were very, very close.
It's an Irish name. To be
He
fair.
is just the song, even he sings the jig, because the Irish in him is very like, oh, there's one tiny little gripe I have with Sinners, and it's the vampire hunters.
Yeah, you never see him again.
It would have been so good, even if we have some form of narrative from them. Maybe they were the storytellers. Maybe like it's not the twin story; it was their story of the twins, of the legends that were the and then Ant was like, because he was going, I could see this as a TV show. I could really see this world being evolved into a TV show, especially the fact that you've got the head vampire who you generally don't know if he's touched anyone else. Like this is just one town. He could have like planted his seed everywhere. But would they be dead? Because he is. Don't know. But there's there was so much that you could go into with this movie, and that's one aspect that I wish Ryan Coogler could have just elaborated on, and that is and that is a very small nitpick.
And so I will say, cinema feels like it's heading in a good place at the moment. Like
It
we
does.
get these little nuggets of genius that might not be everybody's cup of tea, but they are something that we haven't seen in a while. It's very
Yeah,
feels like original stuff. Using maybe
it's
some of the old
nice.
tropes, like vampirism is an old trope. You're going, it's done to death. However, in the way that they use it in this film, it's done in such a way that it's new.
Yeah,
Sinners, and then obviously we're going to be hoping for some decent paranormal movies to come out soon. Like I feel like we're missing like Paranormal Activity when that hit. That was
Oh my God.
anything anyone had seen.
One of my favorite found footage is that.
Yeah, so it's like there's the ability to do it on a shoestring and then to become the most successful movie ever made at that time. You know, they went from like what was it, $45,000 it cost to make it, or $145,000, and it ended up taking like hundreds of millions in the box office.
I've
So
been watching a lot of Dead Meat, and I was watching the episode on terrible boyfriends and horror,
oh,
and he comes up as the worst, and I'm like,
oh,
oh my
he's
God,
awful.
is he? He's horrible.
He reminds me of the guy that does Catfish. The
Oh,
TV.
I totally get that.
I
I
don't know.
totally understand that. Yeah, I totally agree. I feel like there's a bit of and I think we spoke about this when we did have Jimmy and Kyra, can't talk. Say her
Kira.
name, Kyra.
Kira.
Thank you,
Say my
thank
name.
you.
Say my name.
We talked about like there is kind of a renaissance coming with horror, and there's a different direction, and it's great that independent movies are becoming a bit of a forefront. Given that at the beginning of the year I mentioned that this is the year of the franchise, so you've got one's now being taken out of the equation unless Blumhouse really did buy it, and fuck me, Christ knows where it's going to go. But I know what you did last summer. Final Destination. That I know. I saw you comment. The Conjuring. What else was there? There was more. There was more. Insidious. There is so many. Megan. There's another one of them coming. Oh, she was fucking terrible. There's so many of them coming out, which is part of this huge franchise. But then you get Sinners. And you get, even though I know 28 years later is part of, but it's something that is very, very in the distant, like it was a very long time ago. And I feel like it's been a little bit of a palate cleanser. But I think there's some change going to happen, or is already happening.
But I feel like with the 2005 movie, I feel like they thought that that's what they were doing. I think they thought if we change it up a little bit, we can make it something new and something interesting, and we're bringing all this CGI in, and it can be like
Yeah, it
one of
was
these new kind.
2005.
And it's like we have to remember it is 2005, and the use of CGI was a relatively new, not
Yeah,
new, but it was a relatively new thing. So they're gonna go in all balls to the wall with shit that you don't fucking need, and because they
yeah.
like, look what we can do, look
Well,
at it.
it's also cost effective as well because you're not using, in practical, they, amps the cost up, but also it is a time where CGI is very much, the forefront of movie making. So everyone is getting involved in it, because if you don't get involved in it, you're losing out. You're not part of the clique. You're not part of it anymore. You're not making a movie. But I can't knock them for taking chances with it. There's just certain parts of the execution were a bit shit. Tom Welling, why? His turtleneck was actually more interesting than he was. There's certain people in there that were very forgettable, but Selma Blair, not at all. Selma Blair actually did all her own stunts. This is why she probably hates this movie, because she was stuck in a water tank for 12 hours.
I know she lost her shit with Rupert at one point because she was being interviewed by a bunch of journalists about the movie, and they basically said, how did you see Stevie as being played? And she took a chicken fillet out of her bra, threw it across the room, and she went, not like Adrian. This is the Adrian they want me to play. And basically, they'd made her like tried to make her all,
Oh,
yeah, busty and Adrian like, and she's like, this is not
that's not her.
me. Which I'm guessing at the time when you're brought on to do a movie, you're given a rundown.
Yeah.
But you can imagine during the making of a movie, they go, oh, can you do it a bit more like this? Can you do it a bit more like this? And then the role from on paper then evolves to something that maybe that she never agreed on in the first place. So
Well, it just turns into the person that she is playing, but they're trying to stay away from. Playing
I
homage.
well, yeah. I found two reviews, right? I
Mm.
went on Google reviews for these movies, and I've never done this before, but I was really
Oh,
curious.
I really think you should do this from now on.
I was really curious as to what the bad reviews were for both movies, not just
Right.
the first one. So the first one, a guy called Evan gave it 2 stars because he said this movie should be used as a sleep aid. That's why I gave it 2 stars. for the medicinal benefits, and that's for the
Brilliant.
John Carpenter one, right?
What?
Yeah. Now, someone called Lee gave the second one 1 star, and he said, hands down, the worst acting I've seen in any movie. The dialogue equally hilarious. If you like Smallville, you will still think this is awful. And they just stood out for me because I thought if I get the worst reviews for those movies,
Oh,
it just really
that needs
interested me.
that needs to be a new feature. You need to
I'm
get the
trying
worst
to-
reviews, like the worst yet
I was
funny
trying to find the
reviews.
1 stars and like that had a bit of substance to them,
Yeah.
than just this was rubbish.
Shit.
Yeah. They don't
Shit.
help anybody. No one
Um,
can learn from that. Thank you.
I've got the kill count for the 2005 one.
Yeah.
9.
Really?
And one dog.
Oh no. No.
It counted a dog.
No. We don't do doggos. No, thank you.
No. There was something I had to go and check. Does the dog die website the other day? Can't remember what it was now. Can't remember what it was, but I had to go and check. Does the dog die?
Was it 28 years, 28 days
It
later?
might have actually. Oh, yeah. Yes, it might have been one of them. I was very much stuck in that world on Saturday, so it might have been one of them. It didn't. It was fine. Have you done a to which one though? Well, actually,
it
doesn't
doesn't
matter.
actually matter the way I've done this.
I actually told Ant about this the other day because I completely forgot to tell him, and he was like, "What, Adventures of Babysitting?" I was like, "Yeah." And he went, "What, the Adventures of Babysitting that I used to watch all the time as a kid?" I was like, "Yeah." And he went, "What, the Adventures of Babysitting that you only watched a couple of years ago?" I was like, "Uh-huh." It's like, "Oh, that's pretty cool."
Damn right.
Go on then.
Right, okay. Deborah Hill wrote Halloween Resurrection. That stars actors such as Katie Sackhoff, Jamie Lee, Sean Patrick Thomas, and Busta Rhymes. Busta Rhymes played Rasan in the 2000s movie adaptation of Shaft. You're damn right. People Hernandez was played by Jeffrey Wright. He is also known for playing Bernard Lowe in the TV adaptation of the Yul Brynner classic Westworld. Westworld features a character called William, played by none other than Mr. Jimmi Simpson. Jimmy played Noah in the 2000 comedy Loser, featuring teenage dirtbag by Wheatus and starring Mina Savari, Jason Biggs, and Dan Aykroyd. Dan Aykroyd played Detective Ben in a 1996 movie called Feeling Minnesota. This starred Keanu Reeves, Cameron Diaz, Courtney Love, and Vincent D'Onofrio, who also played Thor/Dawson in Adventures in Babysitting.
Finally got there with Vincent D'Onofrio.
So
I don't think you ever have.
I've done Vincent a couple of times. I think I even brought him up for SVU at one time. I even got the SVU connection in there. Law and Order. Yeah.
In the criminal justice system.
That film should be bum. The second one.
Bum. That's really good. I'm glad you got Jimmi in there too.
Alongside Busta Rhymes. I have
Busta Rhymes.
I still can't believe Deb had her finger in.
No,
Halloween Resurrection.
When you said there that Deborah Hill was part of that film, I was like, no, she wasn't.
She wrote.
Blasphemy.
She wrote Halloween Resurrection. I don't know if it came out before she passed away, but she wrote Halloween Resurrection.
I hope so. I'm sorry, I really hope so. Well done. Well done. You did it again. You have not been.
I will never not do it. I will never be foiled. I will, even if it's going to take me 4 paragraphs, I will get there.
just sat there like a half an hour later, Dan still. I will do this. I will get there.
I can't
do it. I can't not. Well, that's been The Fog double feature. It's nice to go back to a double feature. It's been nice. I will think of the one I thought of the other day. It was really good as well. Next week. So we have something very special for the for the entirety of July. So, I have been hearing a lot on TikTok, Summerween.
Yeah.
I'm fucking sick of it. We are going into the month of Slasher-ween. For the entirety of July, we are doing nothing but slasher movies. However, there's a twist.
Ooh.
The twist is we both get to pick 2 movies each.
DOS.
However, the person who picks the movie has to do the notes. That's intro to.
Oh, right. Okay.
I did forget to mention that. Intro to. You do the entirety of the notes of the film. If you've picked the film, you have to do the entirety of the notes, and the other person just has to watch.
Good.
And vice versa.
Yep.
And we are determining who goes first by my trusty 50p piece that has seen us through many decision making.
Yes. It is the law.
So, I'm going to do it off my laptop. Call it.
Tails.
Ah! It's heads. Not joking.
Right.
Heads.
I've got to believe it. So you go first, yeah?
Dan.
Yeah.
Dan. It's actually tails.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not even joking.
Are you sure?
I'm absolutely positive. I wouldn't bullshit you because I really want you to do mine first. But no, it is actually tails.
Okay.
So
Well,
it's you.
I've got 2 here, but I'm going to go with the lesser just to ease you in first, right? Of
You
the
may
2.
regret that when you get my next one.
Well, the second one I think packs a bigger punch out of the 2. So I'm going to go with this one first.
Go.
Let me get my little. I got the synopsis on my phone, so you have to bear with me for a second.
Okay.
I want to
Okay.
make sure.
You don't have to do an intro, but I was,
No, but I mean, like from the point of view where basically this film is called The Final Girls. It's from 2015. A young woman grieving the loss of her mother, a famous scream queen from the 1980s, finds herself pulled into the world of her mum's most famous movie. Reunited, the women must fight off the film's maniacal killer. And it is a slasher movie because I had to double check. But it's a slasher and it's called The Final Girls. It's from 2015. It's 10 years old. It's got Teresa Farmiga in it. It has Nina Dobrev. It has Marlene Ackerman in it.
Him from Silicon Valley.
It's got the kid from the play Bjorn Ironside in Vikings in it. It's
Shit,
it's Alexander Ludwig. There we
yeah.
go.
He's in the Hunger Games too.
Yeah, Alexander Ludwig. Yeah, so it's a very recent-ish. It's a 10-year-old film, but I have a love for this film.
You have been itching to do this.
Not because it's any good. You might watch it and hate it.
I love it. I've seen it. I'm so glad I get to watch it again. And I don't have to take any notes.
Yeah, there's something about this film, and I will go into it next week, but I just think this film needs more love. It needs more people to go and watch it. So please go watch this for next week. And then I really want people to weigh in on this one. I want people to comment. I want people to go onto the social medias and let us know what you think about this film, because I want this to have interaction. This film needs stuff. I just want to know people's opinions on it, because like going into The Fog, you know what people think of the remake, you know what people think of the original, but with this one, it's such a sort of flew under the radar kind of thing. Only very few people I know about it, and I don't really know what people think of it. So I was like, okay, let's try that, shall we?
I like it. Dan has been itching to do this for a while for them very reasons. Good choice. Yeah, I wasn't going to bullshit you there. I just got way too excited and forgot that I had to turn the coin over to look and go, oh no, Sam, that's heads. The actual queen's head, not the fact that this person has a head. Britannia has a head. She is technically tails.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so we have just done The Fog. Next week we are doing The Final Girls, and we are in the month of Slasher-ween.
Correct.
Kind of coincides with our what's what I'm looking for? Promotion of Slay. So if you are if you haven't already seen, a couple of weeks ago, we did an interview with Kyra Gardner and Jimmi Simpson on their new independent horror movie, Slay. It's a great interview. We had such a blast, and still I'm reeling over it. I'm fine now. I can talk better now than what I could at the time. But yeah, they have a Kickstarter in place to help finance and finish the movie. The movie's being shot. There is now a teaser, oh sorry, an unofficial official trailer that has been released this week. We have it on our socials. Also go and check out their socials. Everything is all linked down below. And if you want to get involved in movie history, go and help out in the Kickstarter.
Yeah, if you want to see Shawnee Smith, Sean Gambrioni, Aya Cash. So you're talking Stormfront, you're talking, well, everybody knows Shawnee. Stormfront, Adam Goldberg, and there's a long list of other guys in this as well. We are going to push this till the Kickstarter ends, but literally, if you cannot afford to join the package at $25, which is the very minimum one, you can even just pledge $1. You know, go on. $1 will help them. So, you know, I
It
know
all
times
adds
are
up.
tough, and I know it's not a charity, and I know times are tough and all that sort of stuff. But we need more interesting things to watch. And this does look, from what we've seen, and the passion that those two have for it, like it will be fantastic. So
it radiates completely when you are watching Kira's social media when she is talking about this, promoting this. The package, she's literally just put up a Child's Play package up, which is like, shit, girl, nice.
I have my eyes peeled just in case there's something out for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just saying. Links are all down below if you want to get involved. However big, however small, it all matters. It all counts. It all goes towards creativity being allowed to be seen.
Yes. And
Um,
there's not enough. And we will be talking about other independent cinema coming up because we know that Dean of the Dead's just had Go to Hell
yes.
out.
Yes, that's right. We
We'll
will be
get
having
there, but
we will, yeah. We have things lined up. Please, I'll be checking out our socials this week because I'm going to be doing things a little bit differently, and there is going to be some mention of Dean's independent short horror that he's just done, and we will have him on at some point to talk about said independent horror. But we are trying to get more involved with the independent side of horror because I think we've realized, and the more that we've done these movie reviews, that we're like, oh, we need substance, we need passion, we need to, and we're starting to, not that I'm saying we're starting to get that, but we're feeling it more. So
yeah, I want to be, I want something new.
yeah,
I want you, and it doesn't matter how it's packaged.
yeah. It's
Give me-
either that or we're just going to go to a nostalgia podcast.
Yeah. Well, either are fine, you know.
Yeah, it's fine. It would be fine, but I feel like we've had such a taste of what comes out of independent and the conversations that can happen and the ideas and we had a lot of moments when we were talking to Kira and Jimmy where we were so on the same page and we were like, shit, this is it, isn't it? This is kind of what we've been missing. Isn't it funny how when we have a turning point in this, it's got something to do with a gardener?
It's all Tony's fault.
We had such a we had a turning point with the blob, which got us doing double features to fucking start with. And then this, oh, it's just, I love it. I love it. And I'm living for it. And I'm living for Slashoween. Fuck Summerween. I'm just sick of hearing that soundbite. Summer what? Summerween. So we are on the Nerdy Up North podcast. You can catch us every Monday. The episode becomes available at 8 o'clock in the morning. If you hit the notification bell, you'll be actually notified that the episode is available for your viewing pleasure. The audio for this episode does go up later on that day. You can find us from anywhere you get your podcast from searching Monsters Up North podcast. You must search Monsters Up North podcast and not Nerdy Up North because you will be looking for a completely wrong thing. The links for Bleeding Marvelous, Monsters Up North, Nerdy Up North, and Slay are where, Dan?
Down there, down there, down there in the comments, in the down there, in the header, wherever, it just down there. Down
I'm just
there.
looking at your nails. Have you had your nails done again?
No. Next week.
Okay.
I'll
New
have
nails
new
next
ones
week.
next week.
New nails next week. So yes, join us for our whole month of slasher movies. Dan's gonna fucking hate mine. And I'm not doing it on purpose. It's just the only time I'm gonna get a chance to do it.
It's a Blumhouse. I just know it's a Blumhouse.
It's fucking not. It's
Well,
really not.
she keeps
It's
on about how
worse.
much I'm gonna hate it. I'm like, it's gotta be a Blumhouse if I'm gonna hate it.
No, I say it's worse, it's not. I love it. And it's probably the only time I'll ever in the history of my podcasting be able to get this movie out there. It's gonna be fun, it's gonna be fun. But that's it. Is that it?
This is it.
How mid was that ending?
She got it.
Did it?
She did
I
it.
fucking did it. Well, if there's nothing else left to say goodbye, Dan.
It's 12 midnight, and we've just started into the witching hour. This is Stevie Wayne, on top of the world tonight. Bye!
Stay spooky, everyone. Bye!